Welcome to Breathe with Caroline. Today I would like to invite you to explore a breath I call ha breath. There's a few ways I like to describe this breathing technique. One is that we can think about creating the sound of the sea, so similar to perhaps when you may have held a shell to your ear and heard the sound of the sea. Or maybe it's more helpful to imagine you are steaming up a mirror. And this is the sound and the technique we're going to use to gently create a soothing, extended exhalation. So to begin with, making sure you feel comfortable in the shape or position you are in. Maybe you're lying down, perhaps you are sitting, making sure that there's a softness in your shoulders and length through your spine, so your lungs have all the space they need for your inhalation. And as you begin to ensure your comfort and the length and space in your upper body, perhaps you close your eyes if you feel comfortable to do so. Or maybe you would like to soften your gaze. And by this I mean gently softening your eyelids. So not quite closing your eyes, maybe finding a point in the room you're in to softly focus on, helping and supporting your concentration and your mind into stillness. In these first few moments, it might be helpful to notice how your breath is right now before we explore the breathing technique. You might like to notice where your breath is moving to as you breathe in. You might find you feel some movement in the upper body, the back of the body. Just noticing where, when you breathe in, the movement begins. You might also like to notice the rhythm of your breath. Perhaps that translates for you as the speed of your breath, or it might be the difference in length of your inhalation and exhalation as you breathe in and breathe out. And finally, you might like to think about the texture of your breath. So it might be the texture of your breath feels soft and smooth, like some silk or satin. Maybe it feels a little bit bumpy, like some pebbles on a beach or sandpaper. So if it's helpful, beginning to create this picture of your breath, this breath print. And in your own time, letting those thoughts, that awareness go, and if you can, breathing in and out through your nose. Maybe you notice the cooler air as you breathe in through your nostrils, and the warmer air as it leaves your lungs in the exhalation. And we want to try and breathe in and out through our nose because our nose is doing so much for us. When we breathe in through our nose, the nose is cleansing the breath, filtering the breath, warming the breath. All these techniques the nose uses to ensure your breath is ready and prepared for your lungs. And as we have explored in the Breathing Well sessions, beginning to think about your breath travelling down to the lowest parts of your lungs. So if it's helpful, maybe you take your hands to the lowest ribs of your rib cage, the last 2 or 3 ribs. It might be you rest your hands, your fingers on the front of your rib cage if you're lying down or sitting. Maybe you can take your thumbs to the back of your rib cage and your fingers at the front. Beginning to feel into the expansion as you breathe in and the contraction of your rib cage as you breathe out. If you find it helpful to create an image in your mind, you might like to imagine a jellyfish expanding and contracting, or perhaps an opening and closing umbrella, so that when you breathe in, you can sense your inhalation and the expansion in your body. And when you breathe out, you can sense and feel the contraction, the retreating back of your rib cage. And it's this flaring action that tells us we're breathing really well. And it's flaring your rib cage at the base there, where the rib cage protects the largest portion of your lungs. And we can think of this as our base level of breathing well. And it might be you feel comfortable here, and this is where you would like to stay right now, breathing in and out through your nose as best you can, sensing and feeling how your ribcage expands and shrinks back with each inhalation and exhalation. So we're assuring that we are using our main breathing muscle, the diaphragm, as best we can here. And in this moment, maybe you'd like to think about releasing and relaxing your jaw area. So sometimes we have quite a tight jaw, whether that's from not breathing so well overnight, or maybe we know we shallow breathe or mouth breathe. It might be simply when you concentrate, you clench your jaw or grind your teeth. So if you know it's helpful, you might like to take a kind of pretend yawn or stick your tongue out and stretch your tongue. If it feels okay to do so, perhaps you roll your tongue around your mouth, kind of pushing into your cheeks, your inside cheeks, and up and under your upper and lower lip. Trying to stretch out the jaw as best you can. Also feel free and welcome to take your fingertips and just gently massage around your jaw area, slowly supporting a more restful jaw. And this is likely to help and support a slightly deeper breath. In your own time, sealing your lips, breathing in and out through your nose, and bringing your thoughts back to guiding your breath to the deepest portion of your lung. Breathing in and out through your nose and sensing and feeling your ribcage flaring and shrinking back. And if it's helpful to bring your hands back to your ribcage, please do. Maybe you feel comfortable allowing your arms and your hands to rest. And if you feel like your breath is flowing well here, you might like to begin to contemplate practicing the Ha breathing technique. So to do this, we breathe in through our nose and then gently out through an open mouth. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this session, it might be helpful to imagine you have a shell you're holding up towards your ear, and that's the sound we're trying to create on the exhalation. It might be you like to imagine that you're steaming up a mirror or a piece of glass. And with the exhalation, with your exhalation in this Ha breathing technique, only taking it for as long as you feel comfortable. And a really good guide for this is if when you end your exhalation, you end the Ha sound, your inhalation feels quite urgent, it feels almost grasping or gasping, then it might be you've taken your exhalation, your Ha breath, a little bit too long. So as much as you can when you breathe in, you want to ensure it feels soft and relaxed. You haven't taken the Ha breath too far, too long. Breathing in through your nose and gently out through your mouth. And finding your own personal rhythm here for the next 2 minutes. And if at any point it feels uncomfortable, something doesn't feel right, letting go of your Ha breathing technique and, if possible, coming back to breathing well, feeling your breath reaching the depths of your lungs with your ribcage flaring with each inhalation. Breathing in through your nose and using your Ha breath out through your mouth. Pausing, resting, if and when you need to. And if you're still practicing your heart breath here, you might like to take another 1 or 2 rounds in your own time. And eventually letting your heart breath go. And any conscious breathwork practice you've been using here go. So if you were practicing the deep inhalation, allowing your focus to soften away from that. And you might like to think about your breath print here again. So maybe you bring your awareness where your breath is moving to. Perhaps also the rhythm of your breath. Maybe also the texture of your breath. And it might be that your breath now feels a little slower or softer or lighter. But it's also absolutely valid for very little to have changed. How is your breath feeling right now? And if it's been helpful for slowing your breath down or maybe calming your mind, supporting you into a more relaxed state or perhaps even guiding you into sleep. Using this breathwork technique whenever you feel it might be helpful.